Welcome to part 2 of Freedom and Natural Law. Let's jump right in. We left off on occult knowledge. Let's see the relevance of occult knowledge to freedom and natural law, life in general. The word occult is derived from the Latin adjective occultus, meaning hidden, which comes from the Latin verb occultare, which means to hide, to conceal, and to keep secret. So occult simply means hidden. This hidden knowledge is the knowledge of who we are, which is consciousness, and how this reality works through natural law. Occult doesn't mean cult. Occult simply means hidden. That's it. It just means hidden. So occult knowledge is hidden knowledge. Such knowledge is not commonly known because it has been deliberately hidden in order to create and maintain a power differential between those who hold that information, which is the control system, and those who are ignorant of it, which is the masses, the general population. So in the pyramid here, the less than 1% hold the knowledge of natural law, who we are, what's going on, etc. And then here's the general population in ignorance. And as you go up the pyramid, less and less knowledge is known by the individuals in the hierarchical structures, in certain organizations, corporations. It's in everything, military groups, government. The higher you go, the less people know. The only individuals who really know or in the know when it comes to this knowledge is the ones at the top of the pyramid. The knowledge of natural law and how it operates is some of the most deeply occulted information on Earth, which the control system seeks to keep hidden from the people of Earth at all costs, because its understanding would level out the playing field and put an end to the currently entrenched systems of control. If we understand who we are, and we know how this universe operates and this world operates, then we cannot be controlled. So they have to keep this knowledge hidden from us. If we understand our power, our true nature, we are uncontrollable. We are literally out of control. Understanding versus belief. The one who lives in truth does not believe, they know. Truth requires no belief. Regardless of what you think, we have the capacity to know things. Regardless of what you believe in, we do. We have the ability and the capacity to know things, regardless of belief. Belief is largely irrelevant when it comes to understanding natural law, truth, morality, or anything pertaining to ourselves and reality. Belief thwarts our progress in consciousness since it requires no actual inquiry into whatever one is believing in. Belief always requires reinforcement in order for it to stay alive, as in it needs other people believing in the same thing. You need a constant reinforcement, constant talking about it to convince yourself that it's real, to convince yourself that it's something true. Belief is illusory in nature and a construct of thought. The only purpose belief serves is to keep people from gaining knowledge and understanding. It has no substance in and of itself and must be eradicated from our psyches so we may come to discover and understand dynamics such as natural law, ourselves, and our place in the universe, which requires no belief. Understanding natural law, ourselves, and our place in the universe, etc., does not require belief. Just because we do not believe something exists doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that we are ignorant of the truth of its existence or the fact of its existence. On the other hand, natural law does not rely on human beings believing in it for it to exist. All we can do is become aware of natural law and live in alignment with its principles. This requires no belief. For example, most people have no idea that natural law exists even though these laws are intricately woven into the very fabric of existence itself and are inherently present whether human beings exist or are aware of them or not. Natural law is something that is always at work in our lives, regardless of our beliefs. Again, like the law of gravity, it exists regardless of what you believe, if you believe it or not. You jump off the cliff, it's going to take you, no matter if you believe in gravity or not. The only time belief can be a necessary, useful tool is when beginning the journey of truth discovery. And I use the word tool because we can't just believe without inquiring. We can use belief as a tool to understand ourselves and the world and reality better. We can. It's possible. It can be helpful to have faith and believe that there is such thing as truth to help us to understand it and become aware of its existence, especially if we have been living our lives in ignorance and fear. Once we start recognizing the existence of truth and have started embodying it, belief is no longer necessary. We must know the truth in the very core of our being. It is not a matter of belief, Ultimately, we are the truth. Ultimately, we are the truth. This whole process of existence is coming back to what we are, truth, coming back to it, knowing ourselves. That's what knowing yourself means. Know thyself, and you will know the gods in the universe. That is what this means. Know thyself, because you can know what's happening. You can know natural law. You can know things here. All right, let's differentiate truth versus perception. The truth is objective, meaning that it is not based on the perception of human beings. The truth is objective, meaning that it is not based on the perceptions of human beings. Take that in, swallow that, absorb it all the way. The truth is objective, meaning that it is not based on the perceptions of human beings. The truth is objective, not subjective. You don't make it up. People don't make it up. Humans don't make it up. The truth is objective. Truth is simply that which is. It is that which has occurred in the past and that which is occurring in the present. So truth simply means that which is. You know, people don't want to hear this. People want to hear that there is such thing as actual truth. People want to just stay in their cozy belief systems, in their blissful ignorance, and just go about their days. No, truth exists. We can come in alignment with it. We can know it. Perception. The truth does not require human perception to exist. The truth always exists objectively, regardless of if we are aware of its existence or not. Perception is reality is one of the most widely used yet completely inverted and just straight up wrong sayings I have heard from many human beings personally. In my personal life, I have heard people using this so much, especially early on in my journey, especially early on, and before I even opened my eyes and realized how reality works and who I am. The quote should go something like this: your perception is the reality that you have been trained to see, not reality itself. Most people have been trained to view reality in a certain way, so they don't actually see reality. To see reality, for your perception to be reality, means to be in full-on awareness with no belief systems, nothing holding you back psychologically, spiritually, physically from seeing the truth of what is. That is the only time perception can be or is reality. But there is such a few amount of people that actually embody that on this planet that perception is not reality. Perception is your reality. Perception is what you perceive to be reality. Perception is only reality if you have the eyes clear enough to see reality. Consciousness in the brain. This is an important one. Very important to understand consciousness in the brain. So this is the dictionary definition of consciousness, which the dictionary did a great job. It does a great job in describing and defining what consciousness is. Although it's very hard to define. Consciousness is very hard to define. Consciousness is awareness of one's own existence, sensations, thoughts, surroundings, behavior, etc. This is spot on. It is. It's awareness of myself. It's awareness of my sensations, my thoughts, my surroundings, my environment, my behavior, how I dress, how I talk, how I eat, how I drink, how I think. It's all of it. That's full-on awareness, full spectrum awareness of that which is, of the moment, of the present moment, within and around you. Consciousness is the thoughts and feelings collectively of an individual or an aggregate of people. So the collective consciousness, if you've heard that term used before, it's the collective consciousness. So we're all having an effect on the collective consciousness in every moment. To be able to feel that and be aware of the thoughts and feelings of the collective, of your environment, of other human beings, is to be in consciousness. 3, full activity of the mind and senses, as in waking life. Your mind is fully activated. You are conscious of your mind. You are conscious of the existence of the mind and your senses, your 5, 6, 15, however many senses that we have. I think we have a lot of senses. So you're fully aware of all of these senses at once. You might not be able to describe them, but you are aware of their existence. You are aware of them. You know, it doesn't mean your eyes are just open and you're just, lollygagging through reality. You're just walking around, eating food, watching TV. No, it's not being in consciousness. It's not being in that level of awareness. Full activity of mind and senses means there's no contradiction between your mind, your thoughts, your actions, your emotions. You're fully activated and online. And then consciousness is awareness of something for what it is, internal knowledge. Now you could sum up consciousness really with internal knowledge. It's knowing yourself. It's knowing yourself and therefore knowing others, knowing how reality operates. You know yourself. The more you know yourself, the more you know how all of this works. Consciousness is the ability of a being to perceive and recognize patterns and meaning in relation to events taking place, both within oneself and in the reality in which the self exists and operates, which the self, the capital S self, our true self, who we are, in which the self exists and operates in connection to all. You have to have awakened consciousness. You have to be in full awareness to perceive this, to see reality for what it is, to see yourself for what you are. And ultimately, consciousness is awareness. And you'll hear me talking about awareness a lot more in this presentation because it is vitally important to understand. It's vitally important to come back into. Expressions of consciousness. Consciousness is expressed through our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. When we have activated, harmonized thoughts, emotions, and actions, we are allowing consciousness to flow through us fluently with little to no obstruction. Consciousness flows through our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. Mind, body, spirit. That's how we use consciousness to create. We allow consciousness to flow through us. So consciousness operates in human beings through our thoughts, emotions, and actions. To have activated online actions, thoughts, and emotions is to be fully conscious and aware. The human brain. Brain health plays a vital role in human behavior, so it is extremely important for human beings to become familiar with how the brain operates. Three main complexes comprise the human brain. The first complex is the R complex, or the reptilian brain, which facilitates basic survival functions. Then the limbic system, which is the mammalian brain, which facilitates human emotion. It's also called the midbrain. And then the neocortex, the human brain, which facilitates higher thought functions and conscience. The neocortex of the brain has two hemispheres. The left brain hemisphere largely facilitates logical and scientific thought, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates creativity and compassion. When both hemispheres are in balance, the neocortex acts in its proper role as the executive command center of the human brain, and true intelligence, intellect plus creativity, is born. To have true intelligence means that your brain is in balance, not imbalanced, but it is in balance. It is a state of harmony and union. There is a marriage between the feminine and the masculine components of the brain. If a human being's left brain hemisphere becomes chronically dominant, the R complex will take over executive function of the brain, and the person will become ruled by selfishness and low-level base desires. They will develop a personality based in domination and control. If a human being's right brain hemisphere becomes chronically dominant, the limbic system will take over executive function of the brain, and the person will become ruled by their own emotions and develop a personality based in submissiveness and naivete. And that's not to say they're ruled by their feelings. Right-brained dominant individuals are not ruled by feelings because feeling implies awareness. Feeling always implies awareness. They're ruled by their emotions, unchecked emotions, not feelings, because feeling implies awareness. And so here it is. The masculine left brain is the solar aspect. It's the yang, active, analytical. It's responsible for reasoning, facts. It's objective. It facilitates linear thought, structure, and aggression. And aggression is not always a bad thing. Aggression is not always a bad thing. Aggression can be used consciously and used to help, not hurt. And then the feminine aspect, the right brain, is the lunar aspect. The yin, passive, imagination, responsible for imagination, intuition, creativity. It is subjective. It's responsible and facilitates holistic thought largely. It's the spontaneous component, and it facilitates compassion. So in unison, you activate the third eye, the pineal gland, and your brain is fully online and balanced, ready to channel consciousness, ready to channel that God energy through itself, to be able to operate fluently in this world, to be able to perceive things clearly. This is how you understand things. You have to bring your brain in a state of balance. Human nature. Is human nature good or evil? It's neither. Human beings are not good or evil. I'm not speaking about our spiritual nature. I'm talking about the nature of a human being, a human physical being. It's neither good or evil inherently. There's a lot of religion to say, oh, they're natural born sinners, they're evil, they're corrupted at birth. This is untrue. And nor is it oh, humans are just good. They're all good and they're just capable of nothing but love, but they just get corrupted. No, it's neither. But human beings are programmable. The human structure, the physiology of a human being is programmable, much like computers. Human beings are not computers, but they act as highly sophisticated biological computer systems because we're programmable. Like a computer, if a human being has a bad file system format, which are the conditions during a child's formative years, a bad operating system, culture, and society. The operating system is the human being's culture and society, and bad software programs, the software programs being erroneous, rigid, and dogmatic beliefs. Their output, which is their behavior, onto the screen, which is life, will also be bad and will contribute to deteriorating conditions on a mass scale. Like a computer, the behavior of a human being will largely depend upon its programming, which is the quality of information put into it, which enables it to process and create efficiently. Now, this slide in particular, I had to study for a minute. I had to study for a while. This is directly from Mark Passio's Natural Law seminar. This is something that I had to study personally here. I had to sit with this slide and I had to just look at it. I had to just take it in for a while. Garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage into your body, you will emit garbage. And then quality in, quality out. Quality information, quality knowledge, quality food, quality sustenance. You will be emitting quality knowledge, quality energy, just quality energy overall. You know, it's funny, real quick, I want to share this little story. Me and my partner walk basically every single morning around our neighborhood. And we've been picking up so much trash scattered throughout our neighborhood. And we never see like wrappers for like health foods. We never see wrappers for like, you know, any food that's actually good for you. It's so interesting. And today we were walking and I'm picking up these like goo goo candy wrappers, like sour candy wrappers, and I don't know what else, Doritos, Cheetos, all this garbage, a lot of beer cans. And I realized garbage in, garbage out, literally garbage out. So how our reality is built. So it starts on the available information. The foundation is the information that we have, the available information that we have. This constitutes potential knowledge that may be gathered, processed, understood, and acted upon by individuals, which leads to the decision-making process. These processes take place in the human mind and are chosen by each individual based upon available information. So if you don't have any available information, truth, or real knowledge about how reality works or anything, your decision-making process will be skewed. You won't be able to make a proper decision. You will not be able to make a proper decision for yourself or others because you don't have the available information to make that decision on. Decision-making process goes into the human behavior, leaks into the human behavior, the behavior of the human being. Each individual's behavior is based upon the quality of their decision-making processes, which in turn are based upon the quality of their available information. And then the human behavior leads to the manifested reality. The quality of the condition which manifests in any society is based upon the aggregate quality, which means the collective quality of human behavior within that society. So if you have knowledge of how you work and reality works, this leads to true understanding. So as you apply that knowledge, leads to understanding the knowledge, understanding how reality works, which leads to wisdom, which is the action component, which is going and acting on it, speaking about it, talking to other people about it, emitting it from your being a lighthouse, radiating it, living it, and then which leads to the generated result of order. You generate order in your environment, in your inner environment and your outer environment, inevitably. On the flip side, if you do not have the knowledge of how you work, how reality operates, natural law, etc., you will lack true understanding, any understanding of how anything works, which leads to zero wisdom whatsoever, which leads to chaos every single time. Always leads to chaos. All right, let's get into the principles of natural law. Principles, the word principles comes from the Latin noun, see if I can pronounce this right, principia, first, foremost, leading, chief, most necessary. Principles literally means first things. You've heard the term first things first. This is what this means. Your principles come first, every time, always. If you have no principles, you're generating chaos and slavery in the world, inevitably. You don't have a choice. It just happens. It just happens through you. Principles are states of being. They are states of being. not something you have to keep thinking about. Like you make a decision, you're like, is this in alignment with the principle of cause and effect? You don't have to think about it. You have to get to the point where you just know how this universe works, how natural law works. I'm just using words to point fingers at what is the truth. It lies inside of you. You understand it, you know it, the words go away. You don't need words. You don't need words to understand this. It's a state of being. You bring it, you just become aware of it. That's it. You just become aware of it. Principles are that which is most important. They are most important. So natural law is most important to understand. Yourself, who you are, is most important to understand before anything else. You have to understand the principles of natural law. They are most important here to understand. So the general principles of natural law. Natural law is expressed through 7 basic underlying principles, plus an 8th principle which binds the other 7 together. These principles, once understood and embodied, constitute a master key through which universal wisdom, including the knowledge of the requirements to obtaining that which we desire, is unveiled or de-occulted or revealed. It is out from hiding. It is de-occulted. I don't identify as anything. I don't label myself as anything. But if I were to, I would say I am a de-occultist or a light occultist. So I am de-occulting this knowledge, this deeply occulted knowledge. Once you understand and embody these principles and you know them, you live them, they are you. You are now allowing universal wisdom, universal energy, your awareness, what you are, your highest self, if you want to call it your higher self. I hear that term being used a lot. Your higher self, which is you, to flow through you fluently with no obstruction. With no obstruction. You know how to live now. So here are the general principles of natural law. Number 1, the principle of mentalism. 2, the principle of correspondence. 3, the principle of vibration. 4, the principle of polarity. 5, the principle of rhythm. 6, the principle of cause and effect. And 7, the principle of gender. The first natural law principle is the principle of mentalism, which states the all is mind. The universe is mental. Thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything that you create by being responsible for everything that you think. This entire universe is mental. Everything in creation was created through the mind first. This is how this entire reality works. You're hungry, you think about eating, you eat. You need anything in this world, you need this, you need that, you want a t-shirt, you want a computer, you think about it. To get this mouse, I had to think, I want a mouse. And so I started looking at mouses and then I got this mouse. I manifested this mouse. To get this necklace, to get these glasses, to get this shirt, everything started in the mind. These headphones, everything starts in the mind. The universe is mental. You have to allow awareness to flow through the mind to create. If an individual is stuck in the realm of mind, they are inevitably bouncing off the walls within the framework of the mind. You have to use the mind. You have to allow awareness to flow through the mind to create and manifest a beautiful reality. So everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. If you want to change your reality, you change your mind. The second natural law principle is the principle of correspondence, which states that which is above is like to that which is below. That which is below is like to that which is above. The macrocosm, which is the very large, the totality, and the microcosm, which is the very small, the individual units which comprise the whole, are reflections of each other. As above, so below. There is harmony between the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane. Everything is connected. All is one. This is what the quote from Pythagoras, "Know thyself and thou shalt know the universe and God," points to, the principle of correspondence. And then here is some images that I thought were pretty neat to depict the principle of correspondence pretty well, to give you an image. Now, I don't know if Saturn relates to the root chakra. I don't know if these planets relate to these chakras, but it's just relaying a message. Again, this is just to relay a message to you. So each chakra system, each organ, each part of the body resembles something in the macrocosm. Each chakra, each energy center within your body is a microcosm representation of the macrocosm, a planet, a universe, a galaxy, a star, and then the ear here. Look at this. This is amazing. It's incredible, the intricacies of the physiology and physical human structure. It's so intelligent. It's incredible. Look how the whole body is wrapped in the ear here. The spine here, the rib cage, shoulder, neck, master shoulder, lower jaw, upper jaw, eye, sacral spine, lumbar spine. It's all related to the macro. So the ear, the different aspects of the ear will be the microcosm, and the entire body is the macrocosm. And this is depicting the energy centers as planets, as other planets. The third natural law principle is the principle of vibration, which states, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. At the most fundamental level, the universe and everything which comprises it is pure vibratory energy manifesting itself in different ways. The universe has no solidity. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. Our bodies, this computer, this mouse, this cup over here, everything is in a state of vibration. A rock. This is taken straight from the Kabbalion. From the all, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter, all is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of spirit is at such infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest, just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. And at the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so low as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration, from electrons, atoms, and molecules to worlds and universes. Everything is in vibratory motion. This is also true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also onto the mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, and even on to the spiritual planes. Everything is vibrating energy. Everything is vibrating atoms, all chaotically vibrating together. So essentially, reality is an illusion. It has no, if you take a microscope powerful enough and to zoom in all the way into an atom, you would see it's just empty space. Just empty space. This is important to understand. The illusory nature of reality, the vibratory nature of reality. The fourth natural law principle is the principle of polarity, which states everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All paradoxes may be reconciled. As in, everything comes back to itself ultimately. It's like, I am everything and I am nothing. I am everything and I am no thing simultaneously. Love and hate, good and evil, fear and courage, hot and cold. This natural law states that the only difference between these two seemingly opposing states are in degree. Opposites are really only two extremes of the same thing, with many varying degrees between them. So, for example, hate is just the absence of love. Evil is just the absence of good. So, love and hate are two sides of the same coin. Good and evil are two sides of the same coin. Fear and courage and hot and cold. They're all two sides of the same coin. Ultimately, the fifth natural law principle is the principle of rhythm, which states, everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. There is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking, an ebb and a flow. This is in the affairs of the universe, worlds, humans, animals, mind, energy, and matter. This law is manifest in the creation and destruction of worlds, in the rise and fall of nations, in the life of all things, and finally, in the mental states of man. So, to give one example, pleasure always breeds pain. You can't have pleasure without pain. Our goal in reality should be to bring that pendulum in the center, to become centered. That's what it means, to become centered, to be in awareness and watch yourself and understand what's happening here, this ebb and flow of reality. And then eventually bringing it right to the center, okay? Today, in this world, we have the pendulum that's swinging all the way up here into slavery, into evil, into chaos. And it's all moving in that direction. It's moving in that direction. I like to think that we are starting to create a pressure on that pendulum, on that to swing it back into the realm of, goodness and balance. But really, if you really want to get real here, it's in the center is where we need it. It's the center where we need it. That's the harmonious and balanced aspect of reality right there. There would not be evil without good, and there would not be good without evil. By evil being born, good is born. By good being born, evil is born, if this makes sense. So our ultimate goal in life should be to be centered and to remove that which does not belong. If it obstructs balance, if it obstructs harmony, if it obstructs our physical body or anything in nature, it needs to be removed. It's not, oh, I'm good. Like, you're not fighting. You are allowing it to dissipate through seeing it with awareness. So to bring that pendulum back down, we have to have enough force on that pendulum to swing it back into the opposite direction. And not to go all the way up, but to bring it in the center. To bring it in the center should be our ultimate goal. Not to bring it all the way up into good, because then you're going to have a whole nother slew of problems. To me, you're going to have a whole nother slew of problems. And that's how I feel about it. We need to bring that pendulum to the center of good and evil, where good and evil, we have transcended good and evil. We are just that which is. We are just balanced individuals. We're not identifying as good, evil. We are just, and you could say balance is goodness. It's basic goodness. But to bring it all the way up into the realm of good, supposedly good, is to create another fall, is to create another flow, is to create another ebb. So to me, we have to bring that pendulum swing to the center, rocking hardly back and forth perhaps, but we need to bring that pendulum to the center. The principle of cause and effect is the sixth natural law principle. If you're going to remember one natural law principle, you need to remember this one. And this is a great image that depicts the law of cause and effect, because he pushes down this wooden piece here, and you see it takes time. It takes time to circle around to hit him, but it will hit him eventually. And that's how this all works. You put something out there, you're not going to receive the consequence perhaps immediately, but it will come back to you. Every cause has its effect. Everything you put out there, you bring back to yourself, you bring back to the world. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law, natural law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Nothing escapes the law of cause and effect. Nothing. So the plane of effects is the physical world. This is where manifested realities have formed due to their underlying causes. The plane of effects constitutes that which has already occurred. It's the past. It has already occurred. There's nothing you can do about it. As such, no power to affect change lies here, because that which has already occurred cannot unoccur. It has become that which is, the truth. Human consciousness seems to be trapped upon the plane of effects, meaning that humanity as a collective remains ignorant of the underlying causes which they themselves set into motion and which lead to self-inflicted suffering in their lives. So you can't change anything in the physical plane. You can't change anything at all on the plane of effects. You have to go to the mental world, the mental plane. Most of humanity is trapped in the physical plane. They think that there's going to be a solution in the physical world. And all they do is identify with physical phenomena. And so that's where they mess up. That's why they suffer. That's why they suffer so much. And that's why they don't learn from their suffering, because they don't go into the mental plane, the causal factor to all physical events and to all physical phenomena. So the plane of causality is the mental world. This is where causes are set into motion prior to manifesting as formed realities. The plane of causality constitutes the causal factors, the why, which underlie and precede all manifested things and events. All power to affect change lies on this plane. Human consciousness must redirect its attention from the plane of effects to the plane of causality in order for human beings to understand the root causes of the conditions which they are collectively manifesting in their lives. Only then will humanity be able to co-create their shared reality on a conscious level rather than an unconscious one. So to be conscious of your existence, to be conscious of the solution lies in the mental world. It lies in awareness and in the mental world. And understanding and seeing, oh, my thought created this effect. Oh, I need to solve this problem. I need to change my thinking. I need to change my attitude. I need to change my behaviors. So it all starts in the mind. Again, it goes right along the lines with the principle of mentalism. We must stop fixating on the plane of effects because no change can happen here. It's just the result of everyone's thinking in front of our faces. It's the result of our thinking. It's the result of how we carry ourselves. All physical events are the result ultimately of our actions and the way we think and the way we operate and what's going on inside of us. As within, so without. Law of correspondence. As within, so without. It's how it works. So the plane of causality is the mental world, which is the why. It's why things happened. It's why the war happened. It's why the virus happened. It's why, you have cancer. Why did it happen? Because of here, because of how you thought about yourself, how you carried yourself. It's what you believed in that caused the illness, that caused the war, that caused whatever happened externally. All power to affect change lies here. Thus, this is where human consciousness must go. In the plane of effects is the physical world, which is the manifested reality. The manifested reality is a result of our thinking, of what we put our energy into, in thought land, in our mind. No power to affect change lies here. Yet this is where human consciousness is trapped. Human consciousness is trapped on the plane of effects where no change can happen. And that's why 99.99999% of humanity is enslaved. In the seventh natural law principle is a principle of gender, which states gender isn't everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. And then mental gender, as we went into earlier, mental gender is the state of coexistence between the masculine and feminine aspects of the human brain, to give a good example of gender, the principle of gender. Our left brain hemisphere largely facilitates the masculine aspect of the brain, or intellect, logic, analytical, and linear thought processes, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates the feminine aspect, or intuition, creative, compassionate, and holistic thought processes. We need to bring the brain in balance to be able to be true creators in this world, and to be conscious of our creative capacity and aware of how we are operating in the world. And the eighth principle is the lost principle. It's been called the lost principle because it's lost to humanity largely. It's lost to humanity. It's the principle that binds the other seven together. Without this principle, you don't have the other principles. You can't embody the other principles. You can't come to understand the other principles unless you are in alignment with this ultimate principle that encapsulates and is the foundation of the other seven principles. The lost principle, or generative principle as it's been called, is the principle of care. What we care about on a day-to-day basis acts as the driving force of our thoughts and actions. Therefore, care can be seen as the ultimate generator of the quality of our experience. The word generative comes from the Latin verb generare, which means to create. What we care enough about to put our will behind is ultimately what gets created in our world. The world is the way it is because most people do not care enough to change it through their actions. If we don't care, then what good is natural law to us? We don't care about who we are. We don't care about how reality works. We don't care about other people. We don't care about life. We don't care about animals. We care about the planet. We don't care about love. We don't care about freedom. Then nothing's going to happen. No change can take place. All you're going to do is devolve. All you're going to do is decay. So we have to care to embody these principles. We have to care to love ourselves. We have to care to appreciate ourselves and appreciate this existence and to create harmony and balance in the world. We first have to care. To read that book, you got to care. To watch this presentation, you have to have a certain level of care. If you don't care, you're not going to watch it. If you don't care, you're not going to apply the principles. You don't care, you're not going to be aware of them. You're just going to do what you think you care about. Social media, do whatever you've been programmed to care about. So we have to care. We have to care to go into this information, go into ourselves and understand who we are, to understand how reality works. We have to first care. Natural law has also been known as the law of cause and effect, which states effect invariably follows a cause, and for every action, there exists an equal and opposing reaction. Natural law has been called the law of attraction. The energy you emit is the energy you attract. Energy flows where attention goes. As you think, so you shall be. And we just went over this big time. As you think, so you shall be. Natural law, also known as karma or moral law. You reap what you sow. And then natural law is also gone by, or also you could also call the natural law the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done to yourself. And the way I see this, the golden rule is do unto others as you will have done to yourself, because how you treat life is how life will treat you. No matter, you reap what you sow. No matter what you think, if you believe this or not, if you believe in karma or not, if you believe in natural law or not, This is a universal truth, immutable truth. All you can do is become in alignment with it. All right, moving on to the two spiritual currencies. There are two spiritual currencies, time and attention. This analogy can be seen very readily in the sayings spending time and paying attention. Whatever information and endeavors we put our time and attention toward, we end up getting something in return for that investment. This return could come in the form of knowledge, understanding, skills, inspiration, insight, and/or expertise. If we invest our spiritual currencies wisely, we should seek to improve the quality of our attention by placing it upon information that has the ability of improving both ourselves and the collective human condition. Such an effort would also constitute a valuable investment of our time. We should ask ourselves, what am I spending my time on? What am I paying attention to? And most importantly, what is the quality of the manifestations, the effects I am receiving in return for the investments of my time and attention? Are you spending your time paying attention to the TV screen, the news, the media, the mainstream media? Are you escaping your reality on the TV, just listening to everything that they're saying? Are you spending your time paying attention to drinking, paying attention to gossiping with your friends, just escaping your reality, playing video games, laying on the couch, sleeping, eating whatever you want to eat, just eating whatever tastes good, whatever brings you pleasure, just paying attention to the social media, just sitting on your phones, sitting on your social media accounts, trying to get attention from other people, because you don't give yourself the attention that you need. You don't look at your own self. These are all forms of escapism. This is all escapism here. These are not at all. These are in the opposite direction of being valuable investments of time and attention. So are you doing this, or are you doing this? Paying attention to books, spending your time reading, understanding yourself. This is one of the most important things that we can do is read. Unfortunately, many people have their attention spans less than a goldfish. See, this is instant gratification. This is all instant gratification. This is not instant gratification, and that's why it's so difficult for people to do it. You sit down, you read books because you are hungry for knowledge. You want to understand who you are. You want to understand how to heal the world. You want to do whatever it takes to heal yourself and help heal and bring balance to the world. By connecting with people, by reaching out, by making videos, letting your voice be heard. And again, this isn't immediate. Do your best to grow as fast as you can, but don't rush yourself. Don't rush the process. Again, this isn't instant gratification. This isn't now. This takes time. This takes time. I know we just have now, but this takes time. You know what I mean. Are we spending our time in nature, learning about ourselves out in nature, paying attention to ourselves, meditating, calming our mind, quieting our mind so we can spend more time in awareness, in quiet stillness and observation, and quiet contemplation about reality, about who we are, about a new concept, about a new idea. That's so important. Most people are just trapped in their mind, thinking. And thinking serves its purpose. Thinking serves a purpose. But we need to contemplate. And then are we spending our time are we spending our time on the shadow work, baby? Purging all those belief systems, purging out all those erroneous, rigid ideologies that we've held on to our whole life, purging all the trauma and all the guilt and all the shame, anything that doesn't serve us anymore. Purging out what does not belong. This is so important. And these are things that we need to be paying attention to, spending our time on. And then ultimately, looking at ourselves, watching our thoughts, watching our behaviors, watching our emotions, how we act, how we dress, how we think, in all areas, full spectrum awareness of who we are in every single moment. That's what needs to be integrated. That's what we need more than ever right now. And then help other people do the same. Look at yourself and then help other people do the same. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm here to do. And I believe that we are all here to do that. We're just not aware of it. Whether we know it or not, we're here to do this work. We're here to do this work. Go from here, learn and grow from the experiences that you had back in these days. Feel the misery and the suffering from it. Allow the purifying fires of hell to burn you and come out unscathed. Harness the flame. That's what this is all about. Harness the flame. Harness the flame. Become a flame warrior. That's what we need right now. We need flame warriors in this world. Flame warriors. Learn how to transmute that fiery energy. Learn how to transmute anger, transmute aggression, transmute all these emotions, and use them to our highest capacity, to exercise our highest potential on this planet. All right, here's the stopping point for part 2 of this presentation entitled Freedom and Natural Law. We'll pick this back up at part 3. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you at part 3.